What's up?
Welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I'm Morrow, this is Miecca, this is Merry, my two good friends in our D&D journey, and this is 1 year anniversary to Tales Tomorrow. As of this day, May 26th, it's actually the very first day that a Tales Tomorrow video been uploaded. For the 1 year celebration, I decided that we'd get together finally for once, for the very first time in the 1 year that the channel's been around, actually getting together and talk about our very own RPG horror story. The reason we need to have everybody here is because honestly, this includes context from everybody, from Miecca's involvement and Mary's involvement and my own experience too. So it sort of makes sense for us to be here together and talk about it.
Hi, I'm Miecca, the artificer Asimar. I met Morrow through some back alley gambling where he gave up his soul for 200 gold. Great deal.
Hi, my name's Merry. I'm a satyr who met Morrow and Miecca through the guild. Fun.
Hi, my name is Merry. I met these two bozos through the guild. Fun.
It's like we kidnapped her. We kind of have, at this point, we kind of have kidnapped her. I ain't gonna lie.
We all went through this story together. And let me tell you, it wasn't that fun. I mean, at the end of the day, we still get to get together and stuff and like play D&D together. So, I mean, at the end of the day, like, I guess best that it happened. I don't know. It feels weird to say that. So this journey started off with me and Miecca actually being part of a VR chat roleplay, and met a lot of people on there that play D&D. We have never touched D&D prior to this whatsoever. So we get invited to play D&D on this D&D server. This is the server the story is about. We know nothing about D&D, so we're asking like, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? What class should we try? Eventually settle on Asimar Artificer and a Tiefling Warlock.
We were making it with a DM involved, right? During that initial time? The head DM of the campaign was with us in the session. The most experienced DM of the entire session who likes to be aware of everything that's going on. It's an important element because this adds on to some of the confusion that happened with our characters, with both Miecca and Morrow, as things progressed, where things were not explained to.
For the sake of keeping anonymity and stuff and not putting people on blast, we'll call the main DM the Lord, and then the second DM that helped us, the Rogue. Kind of makes sense, kind of relevant. Is that too on the nose, or is that okay?
No, that works out.
Do you want to continue? Do you want me to continue?
I'm just trying to figure out. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out if she's gonna get it on her horn or not.
I didn't see what she has.
She has a little cup in her hand.
I toggled off. I don't see him.
Yeah, that's what I was staring at. That explains why you couldn't see it. Now you know what I was staring at.
I know what you were staring.
Rogue was technically the one who brought us in. She was the one that invited us into this group. And then when we were there, Rogue and Lord were both involved in the character creation. Nobody really explained how features worked, how spells worked. This led to some confusion later down the line until I had to look into like how these work. I decided to build up my Asimar Artificer, which nobody explained to me, by the way, that it was a very complicated thing to do for your first ever character. They just kind of said like, hey, here's the ball and roll with it. RogueDM created the Rogue specifically to be with our characters. Like it was specifically made for us. They didn't really necessarily ask her. She just like said, hey, I'm going to make this character and I'm going to be involved with these guys' stories. And that's how that got involved. As time went on, we met up with another player called Orc from that same campaign who decided to join us. And after a while, we kind of figured out this like group symmetry that kind of worked all together with us. So we had a pretty good, well spread out group of characters and things were pretty okay for the beginning, like a couple sessions in. Then the drama started. Holy crap, the drama started. RogueDM complained specifically about LordDM to us and Orc about the way that things were working out. She felt like LordDM had a favorite group, which, yeah, at that point in time, me and Morrow didn't necessarily see it, but like, yeah, there was a group that LordDM focused on after a certain period of time that he started focusing on almost exclusively doing games for that group every Sunday, every weekend. And that became a catalyst for other things where RogueDM actually was part of that group, but felt like she was nothing more than just an NPC for this group. And so she joined us and started playing with us, but held on to that animosity from that group and brought it over to us and complained to us about everything they did together. Me and Morrow tried to kind of play it off, be like, oh, haha, they're doing their thing, we're doing our thing, we should just focus on our thing. She felt like her story was being taken away from, and there were certain things that LordDM, I will agree, it looked like kind of said like, well, it doesn't look like anybody else is focusing on this stuff, so I'm gonna give it to this group. And that was a consistent theme that did happen throughout time.
LordDM had their own favorite group of players in this West Marches campaign server, where it's a lot of players, but they had their own specific like clique. And this clique was called the
Funday group.
Funday
group.
This group was called the Funday group, and the group basically did what you would consider as the main story quest, where everybody else gets to do like side quests. This main Funday group can start political intrigues, start wars, end wars, begin all kinds of shenanigans on this big island that we played on.
Keep going, dude.
And to add on top of that, any consequences that that group brought upon themselves that stressed it on the entirety of our quote-unquote guild, it affected everybody, which means that group's specific actions, 30 people would feel the consequences of 5 people's actions in one session.
Let's say, for example, the Funday group decided to make the enemy with the Drow. And now everybody in this guild that we were in, all the Drow wanted to kill all of us, even though me and Mary, well, Mary wasn't around at the time, but me and Miecca, we had nothing to do with the Drow. We didn't even talk to the Drow. We never met the Drow, but suddenly the Drow wanted to kill everybody. If we wanted to do some sort of like a peace negotiations, couldn't do it. The Drow just really hated us. But if the Funday group wanted to do peace negotiations, then suddenly the Drow didn't see us as an enemy and was suddenly friendly to everybody just because. After that all happened, Mike and I kind of started noticing some really strange things with RogueDM, specifically in their player behavior. One of the things that she would easily abandon anybody as soon as any just a minutia of trouble would happen. Somebody decided to attract a monster to try to coax it off from like a cage or something. She'd be like, "You guys are idiots, I'm out of here," and just boop, disappear. Or if she decided she had a better plan but somebody didn't agree with her, she's like, "Well, your plan is stupid, I'm gonna do my plan anyway and do the plan," and the DM at the time would just let her. She was able to do a lot of horrible things, like just straight up abandoning party members or trying to initiate PvP or try to steal from party members. And that's a big problem, not only with her, but also with the DMs allowing that sort of thing. But like, that's when we started to think that sounds a little weird. Like, we had no prior experience to like playing D&D or anything, so we don't know if this is a normal thing that's going on.
And yeah, with RogueDM, it was a lot of things. If she had a problem with a player, she let it be known to everybody in the guild. It wasn't like just me and Morrow that would know. It would be me and Morrow, and then other people, and then other people, and then other players. By the time it was over, like half the Discord server would know about her problems because she talked to them in a VC by the end of the week. She was really willing to abandon us when nothing was really going, when nothing interesting was happening. But the moment something fun happened, she wanted to be involved as well.
This is when we thought that this is what my character would do was a good thing, before knowing what we know now. And a year later, after we joined in, goes Merry. Merry joins the group, and another friend. What do we call the other friend?
Piccolo.
You want to call the other friend Piccolo? Okay, the other friend is Piccolo. So after a year of Mike and I joining this group, Merry and Piccolo joined the group. We're not going to give too much of a context, but Piccolo is somebody we know. Somebody that we know for a while. Just completely out of VR chat roleplays or anything like that. It's just somebody we've known, and we were like, hey, D&D server, try D&D, talk a little bit about it. At the time, Mike and I were just ignoring a lot of the crappy things going on because we thought that was a normal thing to do. But it still seemed really fun all in all. Like, we were having a blast playing D&D and stuff, and like at some point we just were like, hey, it'd be cool to have more friends to play with and stuff.
Oh, I wasn't really into D&D, and I never wanted to play it because I wasn't really into that kind of stuff. And then someone kept bugging me. No, what is the way to say?
Go on.
I was gonna say no names said or something.
It was me.
I wonder
Mary.
who constantly messaging about it, trying to get me into it. By the way, there's cute things. You can have cute mounts and turn into cute animals. You can do all this literally every day.
To be fair, that's how he got you into Final Fantasy.
True.
He told you about the cute animals and the cute mounts.
Well.
That's it. It worked, and it worked.
I'll make a character for fun and see how it goes. And then I took a little bit to try and figure out what I liked. I liked the look of satyrs. I was like, ooh, satyr looks kind of cool. I like the antlers because I really like deers and like antlers, they look cute. I'm a huge like animal person. I like the idea of druid. I knew I wanted to go for druid, and then I learned about the circle of the moon. I was like, ooh, you can be animals and like fight as them. That sounds cool. And because of the character creation, I got really interested in trying it. So then I was like, you know what, fine, I'll give it a go. I really like this character. She sounds cool now. I was really nervous and didn't know what to do the entire like first session. I just remember not knowing what to do. I was connected to Piccolo because we started together. I was there. Basically, I grew up with them because they were the ones who taught me about like the druids and taught me how to become a druid, Circle of the Moon. It was fun. I had fun playing with them. I got to meet Morrow and Miecca, figure out they were a bunch of like nerds as well. I mean, we all knew each other out of the game beforehand, but it was weird getting to RP with them, but it was fun. I still didn't really know what I wanted for my character because she didn't know who her parents were, was only interested in animals, so all she wanted to do was just like turn into animals, find new animals to turn into. I didn't really have a plan for her or what to do, while Piccolo like was really into the RP, knew everything they wanted to do, was getting like deep into it, and I had no like I was supposed to be connected with their character, like basically the closest thing to them, like sisters, and I basically didn't have a clue what we were doing or what they were doing. I didn't know what I was doing, so during the D&D sessions, I would just basically tag along, go with them, play. Felt kind of empty because I felt like Merry didn't have a purpose, like a plot to focus on or go to. My DM, because they had so many, they kept changing, so my DM kept changing every like few months, so I didn't know who to talk to about it, and eventually I did talk to someone like very late. They told me they would get back to me, which they never did, so I then ended up sitting on the sidelines, not wanting to really play much because I didn't really have much to do for her or not know what to do. And when I finally had an idea, it never got back to me, so I just kind of gave up.
He was supposed to be assigned a DM in his West Market server that would write you a little character story arc. It was a mess. LordDM only really DM for the Funday group. RogueDM didn't really DM. The other DMs, they were a nightmare of their own caliber, let me tell you, and it only got worse later on. I decided, hey, this looks like a mess, but I kind of want to help because I enjoy playing on the server, and I kind of want to see if maybe I can learn to DM, so maybe I can help them out. I literally looked at the situation, I'm like, I can fix them. Was a terrible mistake, let me tell you. Piccolo also got into D&D, she wanted to also learn how to DM as well. And that started one of the big major events, I think. Piccolo and LordDM kind of got close. Piccolo got brought into the DM team, I guess, a little bit too fast, which really ticked off RogueDM because she felt like that LordDM was basically playing favorites, and there's a new favorite DM or whoever that LordDM is going to be paying attention to. And remember, RogueDM still was pissed that she couldn't be part of the Funday group, and now basically had a vendetta against LordDM. And that alone basically caused RogueDM and LordDM to have a big fight where RogueDM basically dipped out and tried to get a lot of people to quit, including myself, Miecca, a couple of the DMs, a couple of the players. We didn't, but at the same time, we kind of knew that, you know, she's just trying to start up a bunch of stuff, and we didn't really want to be part of it. We just wanted to. Personal drama didn't affect us directly, and at the same time, it wasn't really one of those things that we felt like we really need to get involved in specifically.
It led to one of the biggest dramas ever, and that's where we also found out that apparently LordDM was confused about some things, where he didn't bother to reach out to players because he had heard from RogueDM, hey, these guys actually don't want to be involved in any of your storylines, so I will be doing our own stuff on the side. LordDM never bothered to ask us. He kind of took RogueDM's side, and we did come to a sort of like understanding with LordDM, be like, hey, yo, that's actually not true. We would have loved to have been involved with that stuff.
There was a lot of gaslighting behind the scenes that didn't directly involve myself, Miecca, or Merry. We just wanted to roll some funny math rocks and just go about our days and play some D&D and learn to play more D&D. That's literally all we wanted to do. But with RogueDM now out of the picture, and us kind of hoping we can patch things up and get them more involved in the overall storytelling for like the campaign and stuff, we thought, hey, maybe we're on the right track. Form a brand new group, Merry joins the group, Piccolo joins the group, and now we have a nice party of 5. Fairly balanced, not a healer inside, but I mean, just a bunch of, you know, fun-loving people, friends that just want to play the game. So as finally the dust settles, we get back to playing actual games, actual sessions. The DMs for the server prepping up this big chapter finale. There's a big chapter finale where the big story arc of battling with the drow finally concludes, or at least it's supposed to conclude. 3 parties get put together, there are 3 DMs, there's 6 players, 6 or 7 players to each party, and basically it plays like Final Fantasy 14, like massive raid, like 24 people raid, where each party kind of goes in their own little hallways and fights their own little bosses before they gather together for a big boss fight with like lots of different dynamic things going on. There's 3 groups. The Funday group, the group A, which is with me and Miecca, and then group B, where Piccolo was. Merry didn't participate in the group. I think just scheduling things didn't really allow her to do so, but so me and Miecca, group 1, Piccolo, group 2. And we gotta separate in different hallways fighting our own battles. Our group, group 1, perfectly fine. Group 2's DM decides to throw an ancient purple dragon at them when the average party level is like level 9.
And it does. DM does not hold back. He's using his own custom chart, which at the time, this DM had actually agreed to LordDM, hey, is it okay if I use a purple dragon? And he's like, yeah, sure, go ahead, use a purple. LordDM was like, yeah, sure, go ahead and use a purple dragon. This DM decided, I'm going to still use that purple dragon, but I'm going to make it the Elder Dragon, and it's going to have all of these crazy abilities to fight a level 9 group, Purple DM. Yeah, we'll call him Purple DM.
For the purple dragon.
Yeah, Purple DM, he started throwing everything. He started blinding these players. Piccolo was the only one at the time that had a lesser restoration to be able to help out some of the players, and she used it on herself. What does Purple DM do? Immediately start trying to blind her again and starts trying to attack her. And we're watching this, we're seeing the actual things on Foundry, we're seeing all of these attacks going on, and we're actually sitting on our side and we're like, can we send our healer over to help? Like, we're down to literally our last mind flayer. They're down to their last party member, and he's like, I don't think I can. He's like, I don't want to get involved, I don't want to interject. And we're like, they are literally dying and chapter ending. Like, their party is almost downed. The only reason that the players seemingly have survived is because, well, LordDM finally got back to everybody, and he's like, hey, DMs, you guys are going to need to wrap up your individual parties and get things going. This party at this point starts fighting back, and they actually start gaining some ground against this purple dragon. Purple DM decides, well, I don't really want this dragon to die. Purple dragon escapes and he runs away. Party is kind of like left there like, oh wow, so we wasted almost all of our spell points and we're not even halfway done with the actual thing. We're not given a chance to rest. No one's given a chance to do the long rest, because this is supposed to be a build up to a big final battle. That was stage 1 of their fighting. That led on to the players feeling super exhausted. Piccolo unfortunately spent almost the half of that fight pretty much laying on the ground, not doing anything because nobody could get her up. And then came stage 3.
To describe stage 3 simpler, it was a big fight that eventually split up into 3 mini bosses, and then it ended because a single persuasion roll from the Funday group, and that's it. And then the fight was over.
Funday group does the persuasion roll, all combat ends. Everybody who was in the middle of their combat fighting, ending up, it's all done. It just ends super abruptly. No build up to the end. We're just like, oh hey, Funday group actually talked to this group, and we're done. After the chapter finale, me and Morrow can't progress anymore. We've got a bit later in, we kind of get to that point where we're level capped. We can't progress anymore because of the way that this whole campaign is set up. So we have to reach out to our story DM. We reach out to story DM, and story DM gets back to us here and there about, hey, this sounds like a good idea, but nothing ever progresses with it. We watch Funday group kind of push past that point and continue on with their stories, and we're left in the dust. We try for months to organize something with our DM, with story DM, doesn't get back to us, unfortunately. And yeah, we just have to continue to play more campaigns without any more of a reward other than just, here's some gold, take it or leave it. And that's it. No progression in our stories.
With the 5 of us in the party kind of stuck and not able to really progress or level up or do anything story specific or have a story arc, we decided, hey, why don't we go investigate a ruin? And that begins kind of like a start to something. Finally, the semblance of some sort of a story. Found an ancient gem, supposed to be some sort of an ancient relic for the island that we're on. We decided, hey, let's look into it. Talk to an NPC about it. Finally get some sort of information. Basically get given a quest. Hey, go to the north, south, east, west. I hope I'm pointing in the right directions. Of the island and touch the stone near some circles, like some ruins, and then see what happens. So we go do that because finally some sort of semblance of story, something for us to latch onto and do as a group together. We go down to the west side of the island. The DM that ran the story was a lot of fun. We go down to the north side adventure. We sneak around, avoid all combat. It gets kind of boring, but it's still not that bad. I don't remember how the east went. I think we did east adventure, same as the west adventure, same day. At the same time, the Funday group starts a huge feud with the literal angel armies that want to kill us all, just because we're in the same guild as them.
Nobody told us that they had started the tensions. Funday group get that information to themselves. We, on the other hand, found that information when we were actually confronted. By the way, we are all in the same guild. It's not like we're separate parties. We're actually a guild group. Like, a lot of people share information in there, except the Funday group. That's where the things does lead up.
Going down south is dangerous because now they have the faction that supports the angels and works with them or something. I'm not fully sure. But we have to go like full diplomat mode, convince couple of key characters to let us grant a passage through to the southern end to do our little MacGuffin thing. We finally get to the southern thing, the southern MacGuffin, to touch a little crystal against the thing. And then the most tedious combat in the world begins.
Morrow, Merry, Piccolo, and Drow Paladin are currently talking to two other Drows that were there at the time.
We did our own social thing, giving him time to just like walk over there behind like a big tree and just do his little sneaky beaky stuff, and then so we can get on out of there.
Immediately have to roll a dexterity saving throw, not told why, and then I roll it, I make it past it. We had angered some fiends that were in the area looking for a Funday group character. But here's the thing, only one character could actually speak with them, and that was technically Morrow, but they were looking for somebody who was not actually involved in us.
I couldn't speak with them. Nobody could speak to them.
Oh, you couldn't?
No, I couldn't.
Mid-combat, nobody could speak with them.
Nobody could speak with them except the two Drow NPCs that we have that basically carried the entire combat. Druids couldn't do anything with their shape-shifting forms because a giant mechanical monstrosity just will punch them. I forgot the name of this thing. It was like a huge mechanical golem that did like bludgeoning and thunder damage and stuff like that. It was absolutely absurd. We couldn't banish it. It resisted force damage, so I was basically useless. Enemies resisted force damage and fire damage, which me, as a warlock or fiend patron, that's all I have, force and fire. Our Drow Paladin was trying to keep things undercover, but their health basically runs out really fast. Mary's trying to pull out some stuff going on with her wild shapes and everything, but that gets shut down immediately. Piccolo is trying to wild shape into stuff, that gets shut down immediately. The five of us are basically sitting around hoping that we actually get lucky enough and good enough rolls, while the Drow NPCs basically carry the entire fight. Mid-combat, I decided, hey, maybe I could talk my way out of it. So I used tongues in a way to try to figure out why are they here, why are they attacking us out of nowhere, why is there a legion of demons and fiends and a mechanical construct trying to kick our ass for no reason. And apparently they're looking for somebody from the Funday group that none of us even know. We tell them, this person is not here. You attacked us for no reason. Oh, we're gonna attack you anyway, because where's the person from the Funday group? And no matter how many times, how many turns I spend trying to diplomatically convince them they're not there, we are a wrong group, we should be fighting in the first place, we get forced into this combat continuously as we're being beaten to hell every single time, every round, every turn. This is a losing fight. We think we just gotta straight up die. No, luckily the Drow NPCs were just able to carry the fight, kill them off, and then we were able to get some kills here and there, and then we basically leave whenever we have the opportunity. Obviously upset and fuming about the whole thing, we decide, screw it. we done the thing. Maybe there's a reward for doing the weird MacGuffin at the southern part of the island. We just want to get a payoff for what's gonna come next, what's gonna happen next from this story. We return back and apparently learn out of character that the diplomacy and all the prep work we've done to go down south to convince Angel faction not to fight us was pointless. They wouldn't have cared for us anyway. So the hours spent trying to get some sort of diplomacy going didn't matter in the slightest. We could have just went there and just walked across. There's nothing holding us back. We could have just walked across and there was like no point for any of it.
We finally return with the gem that we had spent at this point months trying to get these sessions together with everybody. In-game sessions, 4 6+ hour sessions of when we finally get this gem back and we're bringing it back down. We introduce to the person that we're actually supposed to give it to and we hand it over to him, and then we are told we'll continue this another time, and we're kind of, me and Morrow are just kind of sitting there and we're like, we just almost died, and like they're like, yeah, we'll have to wait for another player to come back in who's actually a player that isn't even really in the campaign in general to come back in and authorize the use of their character. So everything we worked for over months of planning and trying to get organized now is being put on a temporary / permanent hold until they can reach out to the MIA player.
We can't give you a payoff or an outcome because we're waiting for a player that hasn't been on the server for 2 years, and we're going to try to convince the player to return back because the MacGuffin was for their character when the player has been gone for 2 fucking years from this server. It was pointless. I need to change the camera screen to here to emphasize the pointless. It was so fucking pointless. There was no need for us to do any of this shit. You were forced to go to different places, expecting some sort of a fun payoff for once, dealing with last session tedious combat split into 2 fucking parts because technical issues and other bullshit that generally didn't matter in the slightest for this specific moment, only to be told, yeah, thanks, we can't have a payoff for you going there because the player that's been gone from the server for 2 years already isn't around, and therefore I don't feel comfortable having the story pay off, when they could have given us a different character to be involved in, or a different thing, or a different reason why we searched for this stupid fucking MacGuffin and just powered it up from 4 different places. Infuriating to the nth fucking degree. Just even thinking about it, my tiefling blood is fucking boiling. I just want to punch somebody with my 8 strength. Which is not a lot, but I still want to punch somebody really badly. Imagine spending so much time being invested in this thing, hoping there's something gonna happen from it, hoping it's gonna divulge into something more fun, only for it to end on a tedium of tediums. Our spirits and our enthusiasm was entirely broken, and we all started thinking, this server kind of fucking sucks. We don't like the drama that's going on and stuff behind the scenes, this preferential treatment with a Funday group, the non-existence of any sort of player agency for anybody else outside of Funday group, the lack of order, the lack of organization, the lack of problem solving between DMs and players in order to stop drama happening. Did we get feedback? Oh, hell yeah, 100%. I gave a full write down of bulletin points of things like, why was this done this way? Why was this a good idea? Why do you think it was involving a player that hasn't been a server for 2 years was so important for a payoff? Why was this not done this way? Why was that not done? Well, I gave a full bulletin point of feedback. I wanted to communicate as much as I could. The answers I received was basically, well, you did the thing. What more do you want? A coherent story, not having my time be wasted after investing so much into just playing actively in a server and following the stupid storyline and everything, having some sort of player agency, having something happen that feels like it matters. I'm not just wasting my weekends playing D&D and stuff, just having some sort of fun. A semblance of fun outside of just looking around how everybody else is having fun in a Funday group, but everybody else just basically asking for scraps. Because the DMs in there aren't organizing anything, not communicating anything, not responding back to players. People are stuck, not sure what the hell they're doing, taking massive breaks and just straight up ghosting the server altogether because they're just getting sick and tired of it. And we, as a group that wants to just have fun times and have a good ride as the 5 of us, even with all the stuff going on, even if the server is not perfect, we just want to have a little bit of fun ride, and we can't even have that. And that sucks ass. Sucks so much ass. Not even good ass. Sucks slud ass asshole. That's what it sucks. A slod asshole.
On the plus side, I think, Mary, do you want to explain the plus side of what happened after everything? With our new little D&D campaign? Let her clean up a little bit. She's got to get her milk in. Her milkies. Mary milk.
I need my milkies. I'm sipping Mary milk.
Mary milk, ew.
Refill, please.
Alright, hold on. I just gotta go to...
No! Oh, I hate this. I hate it here. This is just
vile. Anyway,
I thought you were gonna drink it still.
What happened after?
We got together. We decided to make a server. The Morrow was the one who suggested it. Like, hey, why don't we make our own thing? Miecca, I think Morrow planned it out first. I kind of was just there. Morrow was the one who wanted me to DM with them, so the three of us ended up creating the world Eldrosia. Yay!
Yay! Yay! That's the official name of the world. At least the continent, Eldrosia.
Yeah.
Apart from the other place, like I never really knew what I was always doing or what like was happening because I never used to like get involved as much. I know that's kind of bad, but I wasn't really good at like focusing or remembering stuff. And when it came to D&D, there was just a lot to remember. But since we made the new place, I remember like the names of places, names of characters, like getting involved with the story more and stuff, and I actually know what's happening. Like I'm like, well, probably because I'm involved in it too, so I have to kind of know. But it's like, I find it more fun, and now in our new campaign, like even Mary has like, she has plot, she has something to do.
Which in the maybe 30 plus sessions she had in the previous thing, bouncing around between a half a dozen DMs, Mary had nothing to do, no story until after, and then we were reached out when we were kind of like, hey, we may not come back, we'll see. That's when they finally reached out to Mary and they were like, hey, now that you guys are kind of leaving, we may or may not have some plot for you specifically. And we're like,
yeah.
After she was gone.
We're like asked basically to like not leave this server. It actually, there's a whole thing going on behind the scenes behind it where it's like even more drama that is being pulled up from LordDM of all people. He's really upset with us leaving and thinks it's a whole conspiracy that we made a server out of spite when all we want to do is just play some D&D without the bullshit.
Now we have new players. We have people who have never touched the game. Some people who are unfortunately coming in with trauma of previous servers, and we're just explaining, hey guys, if you want to try something, just ask us. We'll get it for you. We've created, at least now we have a fun campaign where everybody seems to be getting involved. We just ask the players, hey, what would you like to do? And how would you like to get your story going? They give us a backstory. We sit down with the players, either one-on-one or all DMs, however we can organize it. And then between the three of us, we communicate back and forth of how we're running somebody's story so that everybody can be involved. Everybody seems to be having fun. A lot of our players, my wife's even involved because she was involved with our previous campaign. Even her, unfortunately, fell victim to the, I don't know where I am. I don't know who to talk to. But at least here she's like, hey, I want to talk to Mary. I want to talk to Morrow. She reaches out to any of us about stuff during sessions, and she just has been enjoying it and makes me feel happy because I can play funny math dice game with my wife, which she was never really able to do because she never wanted to participate in the previous sessions. She doesn't get favoritism though. I give her just as much trauma as anybody else. Compared to where we came from to what we're doing now, communication's been key. Actually, that's the biggest lesson we learned. Communication is key, not just between players and DMs, but between DMs and DMs. We have learned that if we just reach out and say, hey, I did this with this character, is that okay? Usually the response is, yeah, that's perfectly fine. Or when Morrow was running a thing, he reached out to me, hey, is it okay if I include this from that story in this story just a little bit? Perfectly fine. Cool, because I can use that in my campaign or in my session, and I can throw it out to that player later in the day.
I kind of want to pivot a little bit and talk a little bit more about some of the other tedium stuff on the side that weren't the big crux of why we left, and what are some of the other things that made the server not that fun to like begin with, and if anything. For example, from the Funday group, they had a wizard that could also turn into an angel paladin just on a whim, basically playing two characters all at once.
Nobody else was allowed to do that.
Nobody else was allowed, exactly, nobody else was allowed to do that either. Then another player was able to be a literal shard of a god and was able to do impossible things. Another person was allowed to be a member of the royalty, which in the server was not allowed. Most players were not allowed to be part of the main storyline or were not able to be from this island that we were on. But one of the members from the Funday group was. There were also other really tedious things, like if you play an Arakakra, you couldn't fly. You couldn't play Variant Human unless you were part of the Funday group. Then I think you could play Variant Human. Couldn't play things like Bugbear or Centaur, Goblins, Orcs, Hobgoblins. Anything that wasn't a pretty humanoid, you basically couldn't play. And God forbid you had some sort of an IRL emergency. Like I had my mother, like IRL mother, go to a hospital. Taking a month off just to focus on my sickly mother was apparently gonna make the server look bad because I am taking care of an IRL emergency in my life. But yeah, let's focus on the server because me being busy is gonna make the server look bad.
If you could pay money for memberships as well, that's the best way. If you were actually not part of the Funday group, that was actually the best way to guarantee yourself a spot for LordDM to help take care of. You also get a magic item, by the way, so you actually pay to win. Congratulations, that was pay to win server. Along with it being now a pay to win server, because if you pay a certain price, I think it was like 20, 15 or 10 bucks, something around like that. I think it was like $10. You get also a magic item on top of a free session. So pay to win included. Lord himself never actually hosted really those paid sessions, except for maybe 1 or 2 players that he really liked outside of the Funday group. All of the other stuff, all of the other paid members had to wait for a DM who was not getting paid to run their sessions. And unfortunately, some of those DMs didn't want to do it. And slowly and surely, we lost a couple more DMs.
That's the general story of how we left a crap server and started our own. Now we're having a blast with it. And we're just playing D&D now. I guess last thoughts? Last thoughts. Let's go for that.
Communicate with your players, talk with your fellow DMs, because you can make a lot of things work. It's just about making sure everybody's on the same page.
If you ever feel like you want to give something a try, do it. Don't just keep thinking about it. Just try it out. If you like it, then continue. If you don't like it, move on to something else.
No D&D is better than bad D&D, and it's your time is spent better looking for other alternatives to being stuck in a bad game. And that's gonna be all our story for today. I want to thank you very much for watching this video, as long as it's going to be. I don't know how long this video is going to be. Hopefully not too long, but if it is, oh well. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed the video. If you're new here, consider subscribing to Tales Tomorrow. We do a lot of RPG horror stories on here, and hopefully we can have Miecca and Merry join us for more RPG horror stories. Come on, guys, get close. Let's get a nice huddle. Come on. Come on. Come on. Mary's gone. I guess I'm by myself. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see you later. Bye.